All right, guys, good morning. We're going to start with section 4.5 today. I want you to copy this example down in your notebook and follow along with me as you do this problem as an example. Now, the problems we're going to do today are not all going to look the same. They may have different steps as if you did last week. And virtually all we're going to do this week, at least at the beginning of this week, is factoring those expressions and solving them. So last week we just factored them to get some practice, and now we're going to actually solve them, which means that they're going to be my answers or my roots or the points that cross the x-axis. So basically all you're doing is you're factoring those same equations, and now you're setting them equal to 0 here. So let's factor this thing and set them equal to 0. The first step I'm going to do is see what they have in common for this particular problem, which is a 2x, which is just factoring out a monomial. So if I factor out that 2x, I'm left with x squared plus 6x minus 9 left inside the parentheses. Set it equal to 0 because now this is the part of section 4.5 is now we are solving these polynomials by factoring. All right, same thing we did last week. Ask yourself, what's my next step after I get to this point, which is I want to factor this trinomial. And after I factor it and I do my factor method with the factor x that you guys like to do, I'm going to get x minus 3 squared because it's x minus 3 times x minus 3. So I put it as x minus 3 squared. And all I did was I factored the trinomial. Now, the next step of this is you're going to take each piece of this. All right, so each piece of this, which I'll take this, we'll highlight in yellow, and we'll take this one in green, and we are going to set them both equal to 0. So notice the first part of my next step is to set 2x minus 3, or 2x equal to 0, which is the first thing. Take 2x, set it equal to 0. Then take x minus 3 squared. X minus 3 squared and set it equal to 0. Ignore that square root for just a second. All right, because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set both of them equal to 0. How do you set this first one equal to 0? Well, I divide by 2 on both sides. This is just basic algebra, right? This would cancel out my 2's. I'm left with x is equal to 0. That's one solution or root to this problem. That's this part set equal to 0. Now you're going to take this part and set it equal to 0. So x minus 3 squared equals 0. Again, you're going to setting them equal to 0 is called the zero product property. Simple as just setting them equal to 0. You're then going to solve this like you would algebraically, right? What's the first step I got to do? I got to get rid of this square. How do I get rid of the square? By square rooting both sides. The square root will cancel out the square. I'm left with on the left side, x minus 3 is equal to, what's the square root of 0? 0. All right, simple enough. How do you solve this? To solve for x, obviously it's add 3 to both sides. I'm left with x equals 3, which is my other solution or root. So for this problem, I'm solving this by factoring. My solutions or my roots are x equals 0 and x equals 3, and that's my answer. And this is a nice work that I would like to see. Now, obviously, you don't have to write these steps over here like this. This is just me kind of walking you through how to do this example. Not all of the examples will be the same. Some may have you do the different types of factoring methods we did last week. So refer back to those notes if you get stuck. All right, I'm going to give you a bunch of problems today. Email me if you have any questions, but refer back to this video if you have any problems. But again, they're not all going to be just like this. So try your best to refer back to last week's section on the 4 methods we did on how to factor. Try. Good luck. Email me if you have any questions.